From ABC 7 News, this is a breaking news alert.
Breaking news tonight, a state of emergency in Maryland as Baltimore is ravaged by violent riots. Now the National Guard is on the way.
15 police officers were hurt, 24 people were arrested. We watched the violence unfold live on ABC 7 throughout the afternoon and the evening. We saw crowds throwing stones, looting stores, and setting fires, all while hundreds of police officers in riot gear tried to get the situation under control. Neighbors watched in horror.
What if somebody's kid was in that car? Somebody's mother. Not only Freddie Gray is gone, but now somebody's mother gone.
Amid all the chaos tonight, a 3-alarm fire related to the violence. This all centers on the death of Freddie Gray while in police custody. His family is going to speak any moment now, and we have team coverage of the situation with our reporters in every corner of that city.
So let's get things started with our Maryland Bureau Chief, Brad Bell. Brad, you're standing by for a statement from the Gray family?
They don't want to be identified, but you know who I'm
Yeah, and that's happening right now. I'm in the New Shiloh Church where Freddie Gray's funeral was today, and if we can pan over, we can take a quick look at the family, and I think we can perhaps play a soundbite from what we heard just a moment ago. The family is pleading with the city for peace.
So this was a wonderful coming together tonight, and my main interest is in facilitating the family's view about all of this, because everybody's been asking us. Everybody wants to know. And so now you know. Now, see these ministers up here, and men from all walks of life? They came together because to a person, they're interested in stopping this violence, and to a person, they are interested in ending police brutality. And to a person, they have a vital stake in this, a personal stake. Let me ask you all a question that we asked earlier tonight. How many of you know somebody close to you or yourselves have been victims of police brutality? Please raise your hand. Look all around you.
Okay.
Look all around you.
Okay.
Look all around you.
All right, that is Attorney Billy Murphy, who represents the family. He has been speaking
so
here. We
isn't
heard
an isolated
from
problem.
Freddie Gray's mother just a little while ago, and she pleaded with the city to come to peace. She said this is not what Freddie would have wanted. It has been a tough day out here. This is where our coverage day began for the funeral of Freddie Gray, right here in this sanctuary. And then the protests began. Take a look.
It's happening in big.
It begins at 3, just as high school lets out. Young people who've been threatening a purge on social media head to Mondawmin Mall. Police who'd been tipped off were there in force. Having been just blocks away covering the funeral of Freddie Gray, we arrive on scene quickly, and we see the violence as we report live. Here we go. Watch this man in the blue hoodie. Watch him. So he just threw a full paint can. Hundreds of police hold their ground as they are pelted with rocks and chunks of concrete. 15 officers are injured. The situation grows more violent. Cars are set on fire. Rioters ignore pleas from their own neighbors to stop.
And we need to sit down and talk about this. I don't know why, but it's happening. We want justice, okay?
There was a very loud bang. I couldn't see what it was. It could have been a brick on one of the plastic shields. Here's a police officer here. Oh, it was tear gas, pepper spray. Here's a police officer right here, choking and gagging. Eventually, the rock throwers head elsewhere, and police go to try to head them off. That leaves the original target of Mondawmin Mall unprotected, and hundreds of looters sweep in. Police race back to the scene. These people are caught red-handed. It's a long night for the town. This police officer shows us damage done to his car. He is shaken.
Nowhere to go. Glad I go to church.
Between black men
back live now. It was an
police.
Extraordinary meeting that happened in here earlier this evening. Clergy from the city, as well as gang members from the Bloods, the Crips, and the Black Guerrilla family, all meeting together to try to project a united front to tell those who are out there throwing those rocks and setting these fires that it has got to stop. It is not what Freddie Gray would have wanted, and now they hope that that message gets out.
And there were lots of people in the establishment anxious to
Right, thank you, Brad. We've got a long ways to go tonight to see if that message is heard. Now, to other breaking news. Right now, we are on the scene of a huge 3-alarm fire at a Baltimore senior center. This is in the eastern part of town. We're told the building there was under construction. And tonight, we know that this massive fire is tied to tonight's rioting. Tom Rousey's on the scene. Tom, what's the latest?
That's what we're hearing. Somebody set this on purpose, apparently, and the ATF is investigating tonight. I'm going to step out of the way. This is North Chester Street behind me, and firefighters with Baltimore Fire have been fighting this for just about 2 hours now. It is proving very difficult to get it out, and this is a very sad story here because this fire that was set on purpose destroyed something that was going to be a very good thing for the community. Here's video we took shortly after we arrived on scene tonight. I talked to the pastor of Southern Baptist Church, which is just catty-corner to where this construction site was. This was an 8-year dream of the churches. They started raising money 8 years ago. They were building 60 senior housing units on this property, and there was also going to be health care for the seniors. They say it was going to be a wonderful thing for the elderly in this community, but tonight somebody set it on fire on purpose and has burned down the dream. Still, the pastor vows to rebuild. Here's what he says in his own words.
We marched down North Avenue to quell the chaos, and while that chaos was happening, I heard about this building burning down. And obviously, someone's frustrated, someone is acting in frivolity and folly, but this hurts. This hurts our community. This hurts what we have been trying to do.
But again, Pastor Hickman there vowing this will not stop them. He says they will rebuild, but obviously it's going to be a long process because it's already been 8 years and they were just about to put the roof on here. Baltimore Fire, they've been dealing with more than just this tonight. This may be the single biggest fire that they've dealt with all night, but they've also been dealing with car fires throughout the city, also a CVS that burned down earlier. So they have had their hands full, and at each scene where they've fought a fire, they've needed police protection in order to fight it. There's a lot of officers in this vicinity right now helping to protect the fire department, and that's been the case at every fire. We've seen them fighting throughout the afternoon and now into the night here in the city of Baltimore, where there's still a lot going on even all these hours later. Reporting live in Baltimore, I'm Tom Rousey, ABC 7 News.
And Tom, as you mentioned, several Baltimore businesses are in shambles tonight after looters invaded the city. We saw multiple stores broken into, stolen from, and set on fire. Jay Korf continues our live team coverage in Baltimore now. Jay?
Allison, we got some breaking news, and I'm going to step out of this shot. About 15-20 minutes ago, we saw firefighters rushing from our scene, which was just a few blocks away. We saw smoke. Now look at this intersection of Fulton and North. Not one, but 2 cars are ablaze on fire. There's a couple more nearby. There's a concern that those could catch on fire. Firefighters and police are in the area. They're taking a look at this, but they're kind of keeping their distance, as they have in many cases throughout this terrifying day.
It's horrifying. It's horrifying, but I know that it could have been avoided.
Sections of Baltimore spun out of control Monday. Police defended parts of the city in riot gear, while neighborhoods plunged into chaos. Fully engulfed. Car fires, looting, and violence erupted only hours after a man killed while in police custody was laid to rest.
Nobody can tell anybody that something did not go wrong when that guy was locked up.
Frank House watched in disbelief as residents literally picked apart parts of Charm City. He understands the frustration, but says this is not the solution.
I would say that this doesn't work. This doesn't work. I understand why, but this doesn't work.
It's just trash. No, bottle.
For more than an hour, we watched as dozens of people smashed their way into this Save-A-Lot grocery store and ran out with as much as they could carry.
Get out of here, get out of here. Get out of here, Jake. Go.
After that, looters kicked their way into the front door of a nearby Rite Aid and ran out with armloads of merchandise. And then there was this.
30 minutes and I spoke.
Looters swiped and slammed open cash drawers from the pharmacy. Some ran off with coins, others with handfuls of cash. Looting took on an added and twisted dimension at the CVS in Northwest Baltimore, where authorities say after items were stolen, the business was set ablaze. And you know, for all the jams that we were in today, various threats, items thrown at us, things dicey from time to time, I must say a lot of people have come up and said to us, this is not their Baltimore. They want to heal this city and to fix what is going on. Live in Baltimore, Jay Korf, ABC 7 News.
Okay, thank you, Jay. Be careful out there. Now, Baltimore will be under a general curfew starting at 10 p.m. tomorrow. That means everyone is subject to that, and they have to be indoors by 10 p.m. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan wrapped up a press conference a short time ago. Again, Hogan has declared a state of emergency, and tonight he mapped out what's next for the city of Baltimore. Our Kevin Lewis was there. He's been in Baltimore all day and night tonight. Kevin, what's the governor saying?
Hi there, Leon. The governor, known for his mild manner, straight out called these rioters lawless gangs of thugs. He also more or less says he wishes the mayor of Baltimore had requested this state of emergency sooner.
This is lawless gangs of thugs roaming the streets, causing damage to property and injuring innocent people, and we're not going to tolerate that.
Maryland Governor Larry Hogan speaking pointedly about the mayhem in Baltimore. Around 6:30 this evening, Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blank called Hogan, asking him to declare a state of emergency. Tonight, Hogan all but said the mayor waited too long.
And our entire team has been involved from day one. But frankly, this is a Baltimore City situation. Baltimore City was in charge. When the mayor called me, which, quite frankly...
We're going to interrupt Kevin's report here and take you to Baltimore, to the mayor, Stephanie Rawlings-Blank.
You don't get justice for that. What does it solve? You know, why should those individuals who fought to get those jobs at CVS, you know, now they have, you know, what are they going to do for the people who fought so hard to get that resource there so the community could be served and have a good place to get a pharmacy and things that they need? How is the looting going to help them? You know, so you hear people say that they're, you know, that they care about their community and they want to be heard, but you can't care about your community and do what they did to our city.
Madam, what do you say to those who say they are just angry? They have tried peaceful means, and there are some of those we've spoken to who say it is time to make the community, the society heard and do something about what they see as a big problem.
I understand anger, but what we're seeing isn't anger, is destruction of a community. The same community they say they care about, they're destroying. You can't have it both ways.
Mayor, what's your next step to bring things under control?
We're working around the clock to bring order. That's why, you know, I spent a big portion of the day working to assemble additional resources so we could bring calm to the city. We worked on making sure that we got the executive order right to be able to give people enough time to know that we were putting the curfew in place. We worked with the school system to make sure that there was a daytime curfew in place since the schools were going to be closed. There are a lot of T's to cross and I's to dot to make sure that we get it right.
But in Ferguson, there are some who said having troops on the streets aggravated the situation. Are you worried about that?
You know, we will bring order. It's very clear that I am not interested in exacerbating the situation. My goal is to bring calm. But we will have order and we will have peace because there are too many of us in Baltimore.
Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake there addressing the media, asking and answering the question that we've been asking ourselves all day. How is it that destroying the neighborhood there is actually going to solve things? Saying that the community that people say they care about is the very community that they are destroying. Now, the National Guard has been called to go to Baltimore. The process of them getting there and what they will be doing is still being worked out. President Obama is pledging the federal government's help to respond to these riots that broke out tonight in Baltimore. Moments ago, Freddie Gray's mother had this message for those who are rioting tonight.
I want y'all to get justice for my son, but don't do it like this here. Don't tear up the whole city, man, just for him. It's wrong.
Now, we are awaiting a news conference with Baltimore's police. We understand that may be happening here, and in just a few minutes, we'll keep our eyes open for that and bring it to you live as soon as it happens. Allison?
Well, Leon, amid tonight's chaotic violence and all the looting, there were numerous calls for peace. We talked to neighbors, protesters, pastors. They all were rejecting crime and pleading for calm.
I'm in pain for my city. I'm really in pain for our children. This is not representational of the movement that we're a part of, that we're seeking out justice. This is absolutely mayhem, and it doesn't reflect the movement.
At the end of the day, the community belongs to us. We are all one. Whether we are all divided by race, ethnicity, religion, we are all one people. More importantly, we're all Americans. So we're here to protect that right for justice and that right for peace.
Now, we've been seeing some incredible images coming in from first-hand witnesses. Social media was flooded with photos and videos as many people saw their neighborhoods turning into what looked like a war zone. Josie Sturman sifting through the eyewitness accounts.
Baltimore police out en masse today, a city under siege and caught by surprise. Smoke pluming out of a CVS drugstore set on fire. After it was looted, the participants caught on social media parsing out their stolen prescriptions. The chaos captured by choppers above and shared around the world on Instagram and Twitter. Anger spurred by the death of Freddie Gray, taken out on the police many blame for his death. A fiery protest and violence against officers in the heated hours after Gray's funeral. But even innocent business owners weren't spared, with looting widespread in the northwest part of the city. Doors pried open as police officers stood watch, keeping City Hall locked up tight. Every eye on Baltimore as its Charm City ballpark sat vacant, with games postponed and hearts broken. Josie Sturman, ABC 7 News.
And as Josie mentioned, disappointed sports fans tonight because the Baltimore Orioles did postpone their game there at Camden Yards. They were supposed to play the White Sox tonight, but with the riots inching closer to the field, the game was called off. No word on when it will take place.
Hundreds of police officers tried to calm the situation in Baltimore tonight, and that puts a spotlight on their tactics. Tonight, we spoke with a man who spent 26 years in the Baltimore Police Department. He says that the goal has to be to arrest agitators, which can be difficult, but to separate from the bystanders. And then there is the emotional side.
You're focused on what your job is, and you're focused on what you're being told, but as a rock slams off your helmet or a rock slams off your off the shield, then you also have the concern about yourself.
He also told us that it's crucial for officers to move together as a unit. Typically, the first line of defense is to use tear gas because it doesn't cause permanent injury, and we saw plenty of that today.
ABC 7 is covering every angle of these violent protests in Baltimore. Stay with us for continuing coverage and the aftermath and what's next for that city.
All right, let's take a break now and talk about something different. How about the weather?
Yeah, Steve is here now to bring us up to date on that.
Yeah, brighter day tomorrow with more sunshine and milder temperatures. Outside we go right now. Our high today made it up to only, I want to say, what, 62 degrees at the airport. Average for this time of year is 71, the record 92. 53, that's what the current reading is. Winds are out of the northwest at 17 miles per hour. Temperatures are cooling down a whole lot just off to the west of us. Hagerstown and Cumberland and Martinsburg already in the middle to upper 40s. Head closer to D.C., southern Maryland, we're talking lower 50s. Winds are beginning to ease just a little bit, generally out of the north and west, 10 to 15 miles per hour. The stronger winds at Reagan National Airport, Dulles, the same. Pollen count, if your allergies are bothering you, once again, the trees in the high category, grasses and weeds, nothing to worry about. Mold in the low range. For tonight, 39 to 47 degrees. Skies partly cloudy, though clear starting at around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and that means lots of sunshine for the day tomorrow. We're talking high temperatures around 69 degrees. Winds will be out of the north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. The further north and west you go, out in the mountains, we're looking at temperatures that will be just a little bit cooler. Take you out with a look at our extended outlook. We're calling for daytime highs on Wednesday around 70. Showers will arrive as we move through the late day hours into the evening. Wednesday night will be wet, the same for the day on Thursday. Highs will be in the middle 60s. By Friday, we're talking around 64 degrees. We'll end this weathercast on a fantastic note. The upcoming weekend looks really nice. Temperatures in the lower to middle 70s.
We need a bright spot.
Yeah,
that's a good one. All right, thank you very much.
After the day we had, we could use another bright spot.
Let's get away
another
from the
one.
serious stuff and just say there's no bigger story in sports than what the Washington Capitals did tonight. Game 7 between the Islanders and the Capitals. The winner was a date with the Rangers and a giant step closer to Lord Stanley's Cup. Survive in advance. Highlights coming up next.
And now the Toyota Sports Desk, brought to you by your local Toyota dealers.
Game 7s in any sport are great theater, and the drama tonight in the phone booth was palpable. What a series between the Islanders and the Caps. Hard fought, well skated, sharply played. Let me take you back to the Penn quarter. Caps in red. This is the second period. Caps on the attack. Orpik, Ovechkin, they work it around, but watch Joel Ward with a juicy rebound in front. Bangs it through. 1-0 Washington with 1 period to play. All right, let's go ahead to the third period. The Isles on the move. Franz Nielsen. This is a bumpy ride down the middle. It bounces through the pads of Holtby. He bangs it in with his own skate. Slow-mo, cheapy, but the game was tied at 1. Late in the third period, Washington getting the best of the skate. Evgeny Kuznetsov across the front. Deeks, tough angle. Yes, sir. What a series for Kuznetsov. And the Capitals take a 2-1 lead. The Caps then had to kill a power play with under 3 minutes to play. They were phenomenal on defense. The Caps go on. They stop them. They win Game 7 and advance to play the Rangers.
I think tonight you can see we came out hungrier and we were quick. We wanted to win. I think that you can tell that when you watch the game too. So that's what I think is the biggest difference. Last couple of years when we lost Game 7s, we've been coming out a little flat, and we didn't do that tonight.
History maker for the Caps. Let's go to baseball. The Nats trail the Braves 2-1 in the bottom of the 6th. 1 on, 1 out. Kelly Johnson is your batter, and he takes Fisker high and deep to right field. Get a new baseball. That one's gone. 4-1 Braves. The Braves beat the Nats 8-4. That's 6 losses in a row for Washington. The Redskins have decided to exercise RG3's 5th-year option by the way of the May 3rd deadline, but it doesn't guarantee anything yet. Don't overreact to this. Griffin will have to be on the roster next March when the new NFL year begins to get any of that money, unless he gets injured, and then he's guaranteed the $16 million. And the only guaranteed money, as I said, for RG3 is if he gets seriously injured, which he certainly, don't hope that happens. Absolutely. But this is a good move by the Caps, just to be a placeholder.
Okay. All right. We'll see how it plays out.
All right. We'll be back with more from Baltimore right after this.
Following breaking news in Baltimore right now, we're on the scene of a huge 3-alarm fire at a Baltimore senior center in the eastern part of town. We're told this building was under construction. And tonight we know that this massive fire is tied to tonight's riots.
Our Tom Rousey is live on the scene. Tom, bring us up to date.
Well, Allison, since I last talked to you, Baltimore's mayor has arrived, and if you look over there, you can see she's actually talking with the media right now, and then she has also been meeting with the pastor. That's the pastor right there to her right. You see the mayor and the pastor behind her right now, and she's about to go walk somewhere else here. But very sad scene out here at this construction site for the church. We'll actually look behind where they're still fighting this fire. They've been fighting it for about 2¼ hours, if not more right now, still trying to get it out. This was a senior living center under construction. They were going to build 60 affordable senior housing units. The church had been working on this for 8 years. It was their dream, the pastor said, to be able to do this. But tonight, and we have confirmed, the fire was set on purpose. Some arsonist lit a fire, destroyed the dream out here. Just a very, very sad thing, but still the pastor vowed that they will rebuild. They will get this thing up and running at some point. It's just going to take a lot longer now than even the 8 years they've already spent on this. I'm told they were just about to put the roof on, so they were finally getting to the final stages, and then this happens. And the pastor said, you know, this really hurts. It hurts the community because there were a lot of seniors that were going to be able to move in there and have affordable housing, health care, you name it. And now, again, it's not going to happen as fast as they hoped, but the pastor vowing it will still happen. So this is the scene here. We're a little northeast of downtown Baltimore. Again, they've been fighting this for over 2 hours. It's proving very, very tough to get out, and Baltimore Fire has been not just here, but all over the city tonight, fighting car fires, drugstore fire, you name it. They've had a lot of work to do, a lot of intentionally set fires in the unrest that has been going on throughout the afternoon and now well into this late part of the night. Reporting live in Baltimore, I'm Tom Rousey, ABC 7 News.
All right, thank you, Tom. Fighting those fires and needing police protection to do it.
Yeah, just so heartbreaking, the situation with that fire. And we're going to have much more on that and a final look at the forecast after this.
Again, we're continuing to follow the breaking news coming from Baltimore. You're seeing there on the left side of the screen a podium that being set up for the police officials who are going to come out and brief us on the latest developments over the last few, what police have been up to over the last few hours as they try to contain the mayhem that's been playing out on the streets there in Baltimore. That scene you see there on the right is a scene that we're seeing played out in many locations where cars are being set ablaze in the streets.
And we did just hear from the mayor of Baltimore, Stephanie Rawlings Blake, calling for calm, saying she didn't understand why the people who wanted their communities to be better were simply destroying those very same communities. She made a statement recently. The governor, Larry Hogan, also made a statement. So now we are waiting, as Leon just mentioned, for the police chief. We also heard from Freddie Gray's family the same day that he was laid to rest, saying that this is not at all what Freddie would have wanted on this day.
As a matter of fact, the family had been calling the family and all the authorities and the ministers, the leaders who were there at that service at the church this afternoon were saying today was supposed to be a day of no protests of any kind. They were calling for peace throughout the city and to maintain some an order in the streets with the family in mind and the legacy of the Freddie Gray here in mind, and that is exactly the opposite of what we saw happen all day today. Things got started in the streets around 3 in the afternoon. The first scenes that we saw of people actually confronting police. Then we began to see the scenes of looting that played out. Incredible scenes of pharmacies that were set on fire after being looted. Incredible scenes of people going inside the pharmacies, grabbing the drugs and sitting on the curb and taking the drugs out from the pharmacies to the streets and just separating them and making off with them, and then cars full of clothing and other items, whatever they could grab from the stores. It was just absolute mayhem on the streets, and then it got even more violent as they began to assault the police.
And then, of course, the scene of that fire, which is such a tragic story. A building built by a church, a senior center, just about complete. All they needed to do was put the roof on this building, and some 60 seniors were going to have affordable housing, have a safe place to live, and it's up in flames. So here we're watching on the left side of your screen the police officials coming to the podium. Let's go ahead and listen in.
That's Baltimore Police Department. Just want to tell you a little bit about a very trying and disappointing day that has happened in the beautiful city of Baltimore, and how people have been reckless in harming the city as a whole. We had gotten information yesterday that at Mondawmin Mall we're going to have a large purge of high school students from across the city move to Mondawmin Mall. We had pretty close to about 250 to 300 police officers staged in or around Mondawmin Mall at the time that the youth got out of school. They congregated on the north side of the mall. We moved up what we call platoons to that area. My officers started sustaining cinder brick damage. Stones been thrown at them. The officers proceeded northbound to push the youth in a northerly direction. The officers got caught on an incline to which a number of my officers got injured. I had one officer knocked out, hit in the head. He was taken to the hospital. I just checked on him. He's doing better. I had an officer have his knee on his left kneecap severely damaged. There again at shock trauma. Had 2 more officers down, injured fairly seriously. All are going to be okay, but sustained heavy damage in their bodies by flying debris, rocks, sticks, bottles, anything that these what appeared to be high school students in our school system did out there within the streets. As our officers proceeded to push them out of that area, they moved down to the area of North and Pincy, where them and others attacked a police car, broke out the window, stomped on it. I think you have information on that. Very concerned that I had an officer trapped in that vehicle. The officer had removed themselves and had shelters in place in a nearby store. We were able to get resources down there to push that crowd away from that area. They ended up south at Pincy, at the same in North Street, and you can see that they started to ransack CVS in criminal acts of vandalism and taking of property. We were able to assemble resources from out of town to get up there in a rapid manner. We took that corner back as we sustained Mondawmin Mall and made sure that it was stable. We were able to move those resources down to Pincy from a northern direction, moving southward. We then brought other resources that moved from the south northward to Pincy, and we took that intersection back. We started to push in a westbound direction as we saw more looting taking place just west of that area. As we moved a large contingent by that time, we had